One Piece, one of the most successful anime of all time, which is also full of mysteries, hidden messages, and enough fun theories to fill the grand line. But what if I told you One Piece might actually be based on real Japanese history? Japan makes me scared. こんばんは皆さん。Welcome to Japan Makes Me Scared. I'm Junpei, a lover of kaidan, Japanese horror and scary stories. Today, we dive into a theory that could be as wide as it's fascinating. That is, One Piece draws its inspiration from real Japanese history. More specifically, the Void Century in the series might have a historical counterpart, that is, Japan's own blank 150 years. Coincidence? I think not. And I'm gonna talk about why right after. So grab a straw hat and bon voyage to the mystery hunt. Let's get started. First, let's dive into the wonderful world of One Piece and its infamous Void Century. The Void Century is a period from about 100 to 800 years ago, when no one has the faintest clue what happened. It's literally a historical black hole, and the powers that are doing everything they can to keep it that way. You see, in the One Piece world, history from this era is conveniently missing from public knowledge. All the books, gone. Parchments, disappeared. Even gossip at the local people, not a peep. The world government, you know, that charming organization led by a group of 5 old men, the Gorosei, which is also called 5 elders in English, and the Tenryubito, overlords. These Tenryubito are the descendants of the creator of the world government, and therefore are praised. Or, to be exact, people are forced to praise them as a god. Anyway, attempting to uncover the truth about the Void Century is a one-way ticket to a criminal record. But for those with a rebellious mind, there's hope in the form of poneglyphs. Poneglyphs are the stones that are massive, indestructible, covered in ancient script that is believed to hold all the important details. There are roughly 30 of these poneglyphs scattered around the world. Then, with only 9 specific ones among them, you've got yourself a front row seat to history's darkest secrets. Then, why don't people just read that? Well, the first reason is that reading it is a crime, as I said. But think about it. There are a bunch of pirates in the world of One Piece, and they're supposed to be bad guys anyway, right? But of course, as you imagine, there's a reason. These poneglyphs are written in language as old as the stones themselves, and good luck finding someone who can actually read them. The scholars of Ohala Island once could in the past, until the world government turned their island into ash with something named a bastacle. So now, there's only one left who can read poneglyphs, that is Nico Robin, who is conveniently the crew of Straw Hat Pirate with Luffy. By the way, there are those who are set to know the truth already as well. Like the Roger Pirates, who piece it all together back in the day, they've collectively decided to keep their mouth shut. Meanwhile, 5 elders at the top of Tenryubito definitely know what's up, but are they willing to share? Of course not. This whole mystery around Void Century is one of One Piece's greatest puzzles, and with the series still ongoing, we've yet to get the full story. But there are plenty of hints scattered around. One thing we do know is that a massive kingdom existed before the world government took over, and it probably didn't end well for them. In the past, Dr. Clover of Ohala Island concluded the theory from his research. This kingdom's history was so inconvenient for the world government that they wiped it off the map and from the memory of people. Why else would someone go to the trouble of carving messages into unbreakable stones, if not outsmart sensors? He believes that the reason people in the past carved messages into poneglyphs was to prevent a cover-up by the world government. Dr. Clover also said that the people who left the poneglyphs were the people of the huge kingdom, and the current world government may have been an enemy of them. More strictly speaking, It suggested that there was an ally led by 20 kings with roots in the current world government who may have destroyed the giant kingdom. Presumably, during the Void Century, there was a war involving the whole world, which was ultimately won by the ally of the 20 kings. There is also another mystery, which is about the no Ichizoku, meaning the clan of D in English. If you're not familiar, they are characters with a capital D in names, like Monkey D. Luffy, the main guy in the series, and Goldie Roger, who is the one to have found One Piece in the past. D in their names isn't just there to sound edgy. It's part of some deep ancient secret tied to the possibly extinct giant kingdom, or maybe some kind of ancient belief. The D clan are apparently not fans of Tenryubito, the world government's overlords. It's hinted that the D clan's name might have been connected to the past mysterious giant nation, while their rulers or freedom fighters. None of them is as certain yet, but here's one thing for sure. They were important enough to be erased from history, as always, by the world government. And then there's Luffy. For ages, we all thought his gum fruit ability was just about stretchy skins and occasional epic punch. But finally no. In rather recent episodes, it turned out that it's tied to Nika, the sun god, a legendary warrior/savior worshipped by slaves in ancient times. Nika was the beacon of hope for those oppressed, ultimate symbol of freedom. Naturally, the world government had swept all mentions of Nika under the rug. The very idea of Nika is such a taboo that even uttering the name is a big no. But of course, Oda Sensei, the creator of One Piece, couldn't resist dropping hints about how Nika might have been connected to that huge, conveniently forgotten nation. Now, there are still lots of unanswered questions in the series, like who are the D clan really? What's the full story behind Nika? Why does the world government insist on acting like all of this didn't exist? So many mysteries, but let's stop here for now, before we fry our brain trying to piece it all together. Now, let's put down our pirate's hat for a second and look at Japanese history. Believe it or not, Japan has its very own mysterious blank period, which is an about 150-year gap between 266 and 413. Around this time, there were no proper historical books or evidence found, so even from an academic perspective, it was an age full of mystery, with various theories constantly being popped up. Therefore, this period is often referred to as the mysterious 4th century. Sounds familiar, right? Let's take a stroll through the mysterious timeline of ancient Japan. Back in the day, 239 to be exact, there was a united nation called Yamataikoku, ruled by the enigmatic queen, Himiko. She wasn't the type of queen who was just sitting around in her palace, sipping tea. As well as ruling the domestic 30 small countries, she was sending envoys to China as well. According to the Chinese history book, Sankukushi, Records of the Three Kingdoms, Himiko had quite a diplomatic gig going with Wei, the ruling power in China at the time. After she died, her successor, Queen Toyo, picked up the diplomatic baton for a bit, but by 266, Japan diplomacy with China and Korea abruptly stopped, leaving us with a historical cliffhanger. Fast forward to 413, and Japan finally popped back up in history books, but it's not Yamataikoku anymore. Now, it's Yamato Imperial Court. This was basically the beta version of current Japan, as it applied to the emperor system. Then the rulers known as Wanogo, the 5 emperors of Yamato, were doing their bit to keep up appearances with China. There were 5 emperors. 5? Did I hear the number earlier? Yeah, good catch. Anyway, this period, from the 3rd to the early 5th century, was a big deal for Japan's state formation and social changes. But of course, The details of what actually happened during those 150 missing years are nowhere to be found. Historical records, non-existent. Clues, scarce. Researchers are still scratching their heads, trying to piece together what went down. Now that we have a general idea of the situation, so let's line up the similarities we have so far on the table. On the One Piece side of things, before the mysterious void century, which is about 900 to 800 years ago, there was a massive, powerful state just chilling. By the end of this conveniently forgotten period, the world government popped up, flexing its authority. At the top of shiny new hierarchy, the five elders sitting pretty as the ultimate rulers. Now, let's hop over to the Japanese history side. Before the equally mysterious blank 150 years, which is from 266 to 413, we had Queen Himiko ruling in Yamataikoku. By the end of this no-record period, the Yamato Imperial Court had emerged, complete with a fancy emperor system. Leading the charge, the so-called five emperors of Yamato are considered to be early rulers. Even if you've barely skimmed through both timelines, the similarities are impossible to ignore. Again, it is just a coincidence. Maybe, but it's a bit too neat, isn't it? Let's dig deeper into these uncanny parallels, shall we? Because the more you look, the more you go like, you can't believe it's just a coincidence. Here's the first thing. There's no mention of the past country, even though it's clear there were major shifts in power. Seriously, how weird is that? Think about it. When we're talking about history in general, if there was a massive war where one side triumphed, you'd expect the victors to shout it out to show off. It feels more natural, doesn't it? That's what history is all about, right? Winners are writing the books, adding a bit of dramatic flair, and occasionally inflating their achievements for good measure. But here, just no, silence. It's as if someone hit the delete button for the whole chapter. Here, we can take Japan's oldest history books, Kojiki and Nihonshuki. They were published in the 8th century and packed with tales of ancient times. Yet, somehow, they skip over Himiko, the shaman queen who ruled Yamataikoku. Don't you think it's too convenient? If this was just a straightforward we won they lost kind of situation, you'd expect at least some mention. Maybe a smart line of two about how they crushed the opposition. But no, there's nothing. Which makes you wonder, was this just an innocent case of forgetting? Or was there a deliberate effort to erase certain parts of history? I leave it to you which version you want, but to me, it seems too much skeptical. It's not only about records, there was a shift in cultural and political thinking there. It was not just a huge shift like a U-turn. Here again, we could feel the possible malicious intent, right? Back in the days of Yamataikoku, face tattoos, known as gay men, meaning whale masks, were all the rage. It was an actual cultural thing, and even documented in the Chinese historical book in Wei, saying all men in Yamataikoku did this gay man to their face. But fast forward to the Yamato Imperial Court period, and suddenly, this tattoo went from cool and meaningful to the sign of criminals. By the way, there's one character in One Piece who's got the iconic tattoo on his face. Which side is he on? Revolutionary army against the world government. Anyway, the next thing is the shift in leadership as well. During Yamataikoku, Queen Himiko ruled with a touch of shamanistic flair. Think magical, nature-based governance under the belief system of Kido. But by the time we hit the Yamato Imperial Court era, it was about emperor, now legitimized as a divine descendant of the gods. It's like they swapped out mystical vibes for a full-on monarchy. Now, let's go back to One Piece. In the giant kingdom that came before the world government, the sun god, Nika, was the one to worship. A legendary figure symbolizing hope and freedom. But then the world government rolled in, declaring that the creators and their descendants, Tenryubido, are the ultimate gods. And suddenly, it's their world, and we all just live in it. These shifts feel so much alike, don't they? We've been digging so deep now, but here's one last thing we should get to. The great disappearance act of Queen Himiko. Because, honestly, it's like history decided to play a game of hide and seek, and she's still hiding. So here's the deal. Himiko doesn't show up in Japan's oldest history books, that are Kojiki or Nihonshoki, but there's a theory that Himiko might actually have made an appearance, just under a different name. The prime suspect is Empress Jingu, a figure who does show up in Nihonshoki. Why the confusion? Well, for the starters, the timelines of Himiko and Empress Jingu's supposed reigns overlap suspiciously well. And some of Empress Jingu's alleged achievements sound a lot like things Himiko might have done. And I say, here's where it gets interesting. Nihon Shoki conveniently ignores existence of Yamato Ikuku and Himiko, portraying Empress Jingu as just another ruler of the Yamato Imperial Court. One theory is that by inserting Empress Jingu into the narrative, the Yamato Imperial Court erased Himiko from history, absorbing her into a story that better suited their agenda. Because why honor the shaman queen of a rival state when you can just rebrand her? You know, it could be a classic power move. And then we can also analyze the name Himiko itself. In Chinese historical records, it's written as Himiko in this way. But some theories suggest that this isn't original Japanese kanjis. Instead, it might have been Himiko in this way, which means a female shamanic figure of the sun. Or in the other way like this, which means child of the sun god. Either way, both options look far more fitting for a queen with shamanistic vibes ruling over a sun worship society, don't they? This should bring us back to One Piece again. In the world of pirates and pornoglyphs, the sun god, Nika, was once worshipped far and wide, until the void century rolled in, and the world government swept that little detail under the rug. Compare that to Yamato Ikuku, a country ruled by the priestess of the sun, only to be declared non-existent after Japan's 150-year blank period. What came next? The Yamato Imperial Court, claiming that the emperor was the real descendant of a god. Can you spot the pattern here? It's like Japanese history and One Piece are reading from the same script. You know, erase the past, rewrite the narrative, and pretend the old gods never existed. Actually, I can say One Piece was a big part of my younger years. I mean, I started reading the manga when I was just a kid in primary school, and I remember always waiting to see where the next twist would take us. Sure, back then, there were the big hit mangas like Naruto and Bleach, and I quite liked them as well. And later on, others came along like Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen. But here we are, decades later, and guess who's still standing tall? Yeah, it's One Piece, and it's One Piece only. For sure, the others were brilliant in their own right, but to me, it's still One Piece that's aged like fine wine. So far, we've got over 100 volumes of mangas, and 1,000 plus episodes of anime, and it's still as surprisingly iconic as ever. Am I saying too much positive stuff? Possibly, but that's how I feel, to be honest. And what makes One Piece truly special is, like the one that I shared today, so many mysteries and hints sprinkled throughout the story. And trying to piece it all together is a pure fun activity. You know, it's like a massive treasure hunt, as pirates do. I know some of the theories people come up with might sound a bit, let's say, enthusiastic, but that should be part of having fun of it, isn't it? The depths of storytelling and the subtle message hidden by Oda Sensei, you know, the creator, make even the widest theories seem worth considering. And that's why we keep coming back for more. Anyway, what do you think about this video? Do you think that voice century is based on real Japanese history, like me? Or do you have your own theories? Let me know in the comments if you would. Also, if you liked the video, please hit like and subscribe. That'll be a huge motivation for me. Alright, we're getting close to the end, so let me say one thing. Arigatou gozaimasu for watching this video from Japan Makes Me Scared, and sayonara for more children first next time. Bye!